What's happening, people? Good morning, Europe, and welcome everyone to our live stream. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch TV in an effort of bringing the financial markets to your doorstep and help each and every one of you make informed decisions about investments and the amazing CFDs market. The episode today is proudly sponsored by our friends at forexcnmarkets.com. If you like what you see, guys, please feel free to like, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel and support us in delivering more great content. Feel free to type your comments and interact with me during these broadcasts, and I will do my best to answer every single question you have. Let's get started with the European markets opening, guys. Red day in the markets today with the Euro Stoxx 50 down an incredible 1.8% overnight. Euro under pressure on more lockdown fears in Europe. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, will address the nation later on today, and people familiar with the matter stated that the government is considering a full lockdown, a 1-month lockdown. To top it up even more, Angela Merkel announced that Germany is also considering 1-month full lockdown in another effort of limiting the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Let's move on to other news, guys, and see what else is going on in the markets today. The pound, guys, the pound traded higher on the Asian session, and it looks like it's set for gains ahead of the U.S. elections. Whether it can maintain momentum after the vote is still questionable. Also, we are waiting for updates from London, guys, as Michel Barnier, the European Commission's head of task force for relations with the United Kingdom, was there with a delegation since Monday to try and finalize a potential Brexit deal with the UK. In other news, oil prices slid about 2% overnight, giving up most of the previous day's gains as a surge in U.S. crude stocks and growing COVID infections in the United States and Europe sparked fears of a supply glut in oil and weaker fuel demand. Crude oil inventories are in focus today, guys, 1 hour after the U.S. opening, which is going to be 4:30 GMT plus 2. And gold futures also traded lower overnight after over a strengthening U.S. dollar and fading hopes of the U.S. Congress passing the latest stimulus measures before the country's presidential election, trading at $1,908, literally unchanged from yesterday. Welcome to the European trading session, everyone. Let's have a quick look at a couple of interesting articles, and then we're going to have a look at the charts and see how the markets open today. As I was telling you, more and more pressure over the European markets and the European currencies. European stock markets are seen opening lower today on worries that the damage to the region's economies caused by the second wave of shutdowns to combat the surge in COVID-19 cases. Europe continues to be hit hard with the second wave of the virus, with many of the region's countries reporting soaring infection rates, not helped by the onset of cold, damp winter weather. Restrictions imposed to try and combat the pandemic have had a limited effect to date, prompting fears of more draconian measures. As I mentioned a minute ago, guys, French President Emmanuel Macron is set to give a televised address this evening, basically, with local media reporting that the government is considering imposing a lockdown from midnight tomorrow. Similarly, the Belgian government will convene on Friday to decide on a potential new national lockdown, while Spain has already announced a state of emergency for 6 months. More and more pressure on the euro, guys. The euro fell against the US dollar today following a media report that France government was leaning towards restraining a national lockdown to curb a resurgence in COVID cases. The US dollar, however, gave up early gains against other major currencies as sentiment turned bearish due to uncertainty about the outcome of the US presidential election next week. Now, uncertainty, we saw a record number of Americans voting ahead of the elections. So let's see what's going to happen. We might have a surprise this year, guys. This year might go in the history books forever with US elections. However, though, it's not all lost, it's not all gone. We see the pound looking poised for gains ahead of U.S. elections, yet whether it can maintain momentum after the vote is still questionable. Option risk reversals show traders are no longer bearish the UK currency over 1 week horizon, opening the way for an advance before the November 3rd vote in America. Behind the shift in this gauge of positioning and sentiment lies the latest progress in Brexit negotiations and a bias in the market to sell the dollar in the run-up to the election. Whether the currency manages to hit fresh highs or sustain gains thereafter, however, still depends largely on how negotiations between UK and the European Union pan out. The market's overall risk appetite, given uncertainty surrounding the pandemic, will also prove key. The pound drifted against the dollar on Tuesday after bouncing back from the psychologically important 130 handle early in the session. According to traders in Europe, leveraged funds were fading the move lower, with institutional investors looking to add topside sterling exposure in the option space. Quick look at oil, guys. Let's see what is happening with oil before we move to the charts. Oil prices slid about 2% on the Asian trading session, giving up most of the previous day gains as a surge in U.S. crude stocks and growing COVID infections in the United States and Europe fanned fears of a supply glut in oil and weaker fuel demand. Brent crude was down 75 cents or 1.8%, trading around the $40.44. Having climbed nearly 2% the previous day, U.S. oil was down 90 cents or 2.3%, trading around the $38.67 a barrel after gaining 2.6% yesterday. Oil, crude, and gasoline stocks rose last week. Data from industry group, the American Petroleum Institute, showed with crude inventories rising by 4.6 million barrels to about 495.2 million barrels, against analyst expectation in a Reuters poll for a build of 1.2 million barrels. Right, this is what is happening with the news, guys. We are 9 minutes into the European markets opening. Let's have a quick look at the charts and see how the markets opened today, and most importantly, how they moved overnight, and if we're going to get a bit of direction of the markets today. We are starting with crude oil futures, which are currently trading at $38.41. Okay, very, very low from where they were yesterday. Looking at the charts, guys, we see the RSI and the stochastic apparently turning around, encouraging short-term traders to go in with potential long positions on crude oil, for a short period of time. We see crude oil being rejected by the 200 moving average, yesterday, and we see oil losing more value on fears of COVID cases getting out of control, and also an oversupplied market. We are looking at the euro, guys, which again lost a lot overnight. We can see a death cross being formed by the 200 and the 50 moving average, and the RSI and the stochastic literally crawling in the oversold sections. Euro is trading at 117.60 against the dollar, pointing downwards, guys, and this level, with this level broken, very likely traders will aim for the 117 flat, trying to get a bit of profits from this drop. On the other hand, guys, we are looking at the pound, which did fairly well on the Asian trading session. It advanced a bit, but shortly after the European opening, we see trading below the 200 moving average, which indicates a bit of selling power on the markets. And if you top it up with the RSI and the stochastic at the bottom of the chart pointing downwards, but still not entering the oversold levels, then there you go. You have a clear indication. However, though, as you saw in the article, the pound is expected to strengthen a bit today, especially against the US dollar. Let's see what's going to happen later on when we have a look at some trading signals. We are moving to the USD JPY pair, guys, which is currently trading at 104.22. Again, pointing towards a downtrend and trading way below the 200 and the 50 moving average. Okay, and very, very likely, if this downtrend will continue, we're going to see the dollar trading versus the JPY at 104.05. Okay, we're just around that mark, as that is the previous low. Let's look at the Aussie dollar versus the US dollar. Guys, again, we're looking at it on a 60-minute chart. We're seeing the Aussie dollar well supported by the 200 moving average and the 50 moving average. We see the US dollar that time to time comes back to test either the 50 or the 200 moving average, and then slowly it tends to move higher, creating higher highs and potentially higher lows, indicating a bit of an uptrend. USD Canadian, on the other hand, guys, performed very, very well. We see trading currently at 132.10 and pushing higher, only 12 minutes in the European trading session. Again, well supported by the 200 and the 50 moving average, as we see on the charts. The previous high for the USD CAD pair is the 132.26 level. Okay, so about 14 pips from where the market is now. Okay, and the other previous high is somewhere around the 132.43 level. If this will continue today, guys, probably traders will go long on the USD CAD pair, aiming for the 132.38 or somewhere in that region for long positions. But again, let's see what the markets will do in the next half an hour or so. We're looking at the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, guys, which yesterday closed the day in red once again. We see that cross as being formed by the 200 and the 50 moving average on a 60-minute chart, with the RSI and the stochastic pointing sharply lower, indicating a lot of selling power on the markets. Hey, let's see what's going to happen at the U.S. Opening today. Join me at 3:30 GMT plus 2, guys. And let's ring the bell together for the U.S. markets opening and see what the markets have reserved for us in the afternoon. Moving on to the US dollar index, which is advancing, currently trading at 93.25. Is advancing towards the upside. Many traders, I'm sure they got their Fibonacci tools out now, measuring the retracement. Okay, and I'll show you in just a second how to do that. I just got to find the Fib retracement. There you go. So in times like this, guys, if you're familiar with using the Fibonacci tool that measures the retracement, yeah, okay, this is how you do it. Okay, you can just put the Fibonacci on the charts. You can see the red area, which indicates, yeah, the retracement. We can see it. We can see the price advancing and breaking out through the red zone. It went sideways for a bit around the 23.6 and the 38.2 retracement level. And as things stand right now, it's pushing through the 0.5, yeah, or the 50% retracement. Okay, heading towards the 93.38 level. Okay, and this is where most traders will probably set their take profits for short-term trading. Okay, if they decide to go long on the US dollar index today, probably they're gonna eye the 93.37 level. Right, let's move on. Have a look at gold futures, guys, which as things stand right now, gold is trading at 190.8, literally unchanged from yesterday morning. Yeah, if you guys remember, it was trading at the exact level. And if we're looking at the charts and we pay close attention, we see that gold did not really find the strength to go even higher. Yeah, it went a bit higher a few trading sessions ago there. Yeah, trading as high as 1936. That was the most recent all-time high for gold. And since then, it gave back all the gains, literally all the gains. As things stand right now, yeah, we can see an interesting support level around the $1,900 mark, yeah, or a bit lower around the 1897, 1896. And probably if the US dollar index will continue the uptrend today, this is where gold will end up eventually, yeah, testing the lows at 1896. But again, it all has to do with the US dollar, guys, and how it's going to move today. We're looking at Brent oil futures or the UK oil futures, yeah, which again are trading at 40.51, sharply lower. You can see the movement, the downwards movement they had on the Asian trading session overnight, and as well as the US trading session, okay, late last night. Looking at the previous low, guys, we can see a previous low at 39.20 for Brent oil futures, and probably that's where traders will set their take profits if they decide to go for a short position on Brent oil today. Again, let's see what the markets will say, will show us after they settle. Now we're looking at silver futures, guys, on a 60-minute chart, which are being literally rejected by the 200 moving average and currently trading at 24.46. And aiming lower potentially for the 24.25 level. Yeah, so some traders might still get about 20 pips, 25 pips out of it. Okay, and the previous low for silver, the other previous low, if it's going to trade as low as 24.29, 24.30, okay, and it's going to break that level, then probably traders will go for short positions, aiming the 23.78. Okay, with the RSI and the stochastic pointing downwards on a 60-minute chart. Okay, again, great potential for a sell position on silver futures, as technical analysis is showing us right now. We're looking at the absolute champion of the week, guys, Bitcoin, which is currently doing a bit of a pullback, and by the looks of it, is going back to test the 50 moving average, at 13,427. Okay, that's where the 50 moving average is. Currently, Bitcoin is trading at 13,609, so there is potential for about $200 for a short position on Bitcoin if you decide to go with short positions. The other way you could trade it, guys, would be wait for this correction to happen, wait for the price to get rejected by either the 50 or the 200 moving average, and then you might try and go with long positions on Bitcoin, targeting the 14,000 level. Okay, as if we look at the charts on a daily chart, we can see the lower level at 12,251 being broken a while ago, and also the level at 13,600, 13,700, somewhere there, again being broken. So this leaves us with the next level, which is the 17,000 level. Okay, and we might see Bitcoin reaching the 17,000 level sooner than we think. Okay, we might see it reaching that level probably before December, or before the year's end. But again, RSI and stochastic are way in the overbought sections. The good news is the price is well supported by the 50 and the 200 moving average. Okay, and we saw Bitcoin performing amazingly in the last week, gaining over $1,500 in a very short time. This is what is happening with the markets today, guys. Let's have a quick look at the economic calendar and see what's expected to happen and what was already announced today. We started the day at 2:30 a.m. with the consumer price index coming on from Australia. We see a lot of green on the charts on the economic calendar coming from Australia last night. A few minutes ago, we had the core CPI and consumer price index on the South African rand, which came out as expected. No change was noted. 0.2% versus a 0.2% forecast and a previous 0.2%. The CPI month-to-month came out on a negative 0.2%, 1 point below consensus expectations at 0.3. At 12:40 GMT plus 2, guys, we're going to have the German 10-year bond auction, followed by a few announcements on the US dollar at 2:30 and 3:30 GMT plus 2. We're going to have retail inventories, the ex-auto sector, Civil Cushing storage report, good trades balance. At 4 o'clock, guys, half an hour after the US opening today, we're going to have Bank of Canada announcing their interest rate decision, which is expected to remain unchanged to a 0.25%. And finally, at 4:30 today, the event everyone is waiting for this week, guys, is the crude oil inventories and the Cushing crude oil inventories that will be announced. We see a forecast of 1,230,000 barrels that consensus predicted. We see a previous negative 1 million. Okay, what will happen today? Only God knows. Let's see what's going to happen 1 hour after the US markets opening. Quick look at some trading signals, guys, shortly after the European opening. We're already 21 minutes into the European opening, and the markets should start settling by now. We see the euro set to drop versus the US dollar. We see a strong sell on all 4 time frames. We see the pound again opening with a strong sell today. Probably is just going back to test the 200 moving average, and it will change direction within half an hour or 1 hour, as we expect a bit of good news coming from UK. We're looking at USD JPY and USD CHF, guys, which 22 minutes after the European opening today turned into strong buys on a 5-minute chart, and the USD CHF has a strong buy on 3 time frames. We're looking at the Aussie dollar, guys, which has a strong sell versus the US dollar on at least 3 time frames shortly after the European opening. The USD CAD, guys, very good currency pair. The USD CAD is set on a strong buy on all 4 time frames. Finally, we get a clear indication on a currency pair. We're going to look at commodities in a minute and the European indices as well. The Kiwi dollar set to drop versus the US dollar with 3 strong sell positions on 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and hourly. But the daily still remains a strong buy. Euro JPY, very important currency pair, guys, is set on a strong sell on 4 time frames, and GBP JPY as well. Set on a strong sell on 4 time frames. Remember what I'm telling you every day, guys. It's not a must you trade the majors every day. It's not a must that you trade the Euro USD and the GBP USD. Look for some minors, look for some exotics, as they might give you a clear indication on the market's direction. Now, let's take some trading signals, guys. Let's see how commodities look this morning after the European opening. Wow, a lot of red on the charts. A lot of red on the charts from what we see right now, with gold and silver set for a strong sell on 3 and 4 time frames. Copper set on a strong sell. Crude oil, WTI, and Brent oil again set in a strong sell on all 4 time frames, ahead of the crude oil inventories that will be announced today in a few hours. And US wheat is finally doing a bit of a pullback, after being stuck in a strong buy for the entire week. Now we see it strong sell, and sell on a daily chart. And last but not the least, guys, let's have a look at the European indices. Maybe I can help you a bit. Wow, a lot of red on the charts, guys. A lot of red on the charts. We saw Eurostoxx 50 dropping 1.8% overnight. They're still set in a strong sell on all 4 time frames. There's literally no sign of green on the charts. The ATX and the week 30 have a bit of green, but very, very shy. The rest of the European indices, as you see them, guys, are all set in a strong sell on all 4 time frames. Starting with the 5-minute charts and ending with the daily charts. Right, remember to trade carefully today, guys, and we are still in the earnings season. Today we expect announcements from Visa, MasterCard, Sony Corporation, Boeing, GSK, and what else? Amgen. We have in the calendar announcing their quarterly earnings. Most probably they're going to do it after the US closing today, guys. So keep an eye on the charts. Keep an eye on the markets opening with InstructFX, and you will get more and more news as they come from the source. Remember to like, share, subscribe, guys, and support us in delivering more great content. And join me at 3:30 GMT +2, and let's ring the bell together for the US markets opening today. Until then, remember to trade responsibly, and may all your trades be in the money.